Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, there were two techs named.
Nope. Nope. Fuck it.
What the fuck, man?
Keep it short.
Fuck you, kid!
The only instance I ever had with like them calling it negative on anything was the first month I was in the field, and it scared the shit out of me. I'm like, I got a pregnant girlfriend. I'm living in a beat ass trailer. I'm finally getting on my feet. And now this. I was so green when this happened. I didn't understand. Now looking back on it, I had went to this job. I didn't understand at the time that the drop was run to the wrong side of the house, and that's why I couldn't fucking ground it, because I was so green I didn't fucking know, right? That's legit, right? I just didn't know. Like my training, we were watching fucking ninja YouTube videos the majority of my 8-week training class, right? Like we were watching the West Virginia hillbilly, the ninja stars. We watched all that shit like every day in training class. Well, I go to this job as a change of service. Remember change of services?
Oh yeah.
And all I did was replace a digital box with a DVR. And while I'm there, this woman starts crying. And, you know, that's awkward anyway, right?
Yep.
And like, you okay, ma'am? You know, I was just being, you okay? I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh, I promise you, it's going to work out. I promise it'll work out. And I was just trying to be, you know, nice, right? Nice.
But how could you promise empty promises?
Well, I don't know. What the fuck was I supposed to say? This big fat woman standing there crying in front of me, and I'm
yeah, but
like,
her kid could end up being a fucking murderer, and then she'll be like, "Oh my god, that cable guy 12 years ago told me that this was never gonna happen, that everything was gonna be okay, and it's not." And then
well, I lied to that bitch. That's what happened.
I know, but now she's gonna hear you on CVTV Tech Talk and think that you're worth money, and now she's gonna come after you because her whole life has been a lie. And god damn it, this is why you don't lie to people, kids.
I'm trying to like reassure this lady as I'm hooking up her box. Well, I said, ma'am, I hope it.
Sexual.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're killing me, dog. You're killing me. I'm about to use the Drew quit being a whiny bitch line right now. But
there's nothing whiny about me. No, at least not right now.
Last week you were a whiny bitch. Anyway, it was awkward to say the least. And I'm like, God dang, I just got to get out of here. And then I had to call into dispatch. So I have documentation. I'm on the phone with the dispatcher, right? And I'm like, look, can you please just hit this box so I can leave? Can you please just hit this box so I can leave? And she did, and I did. And as I was leaving, I noticed that the cable wasn't grounded. And I'm like, well, there's supposed to be a ground there. Well, where do I ground it to? Well, fuck, I don't know. So I called my boss. He said, just put in a SRO and we'll come back over there together and I'll show you what we need to do. I said, okay. Yeah, I've been in the field like maybe 6 weeks. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, if that long.
Oh my God, he was the daddy.
No, fuck no. I ain't the daddy.
Right.
Anyway, this was on like in the middle of a week. The next week they called me in the office, right? This woman called Comcast, said I tried to molest her.
And now she's pregnant with your child.
She tried to tell them that I molested her and I was trying to kiss her and touch her. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I said, listen, I was hooking up a box. She says, well, then you went back and she said you turned around on the road and stopped by her house outside and then got back in your truck and left. I said, yeah, it was a fucking SRO and I had another guy with me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, for weeks, this shit dragged out. I thought I was going to get fired. I felt awful. I'm like, dude, I did not do a damn thing wrong. What the fuck?
Oh, my God.
And this shit, and you know what they wrote me up for? They wrote me up because of this.
They actually wrote you up for it?
They wrote me up. They said that I could have used better judgment, and they're not sure what really happened.
I don't know what's more. I don't know if it's worse that they wrote you up or that they didn't fire you.
I wish that
he maybe molested somebody, so we're just gonna write him up. It's okay. Just send.
Well, the truth be told, I mean, what really saved me was that I put in that SRO.
Yeah, that's true.
This guy that was on my team, he had actually done this kind of work before I ever did. He was back in like the 80s, he was an older guy. Back in like the 80s, he would do installs and shit, you know, and then he got out of it and then did something else for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But he went over there with me, and I think we ended up grounding it to a cold water pipe outside that was pretty close, you know?
Yeah.
But he was there, and they asked him about it. They brought him in one day, and he's like, and he told me afterwards, he's like, dude, the lady didn't even come outside. Nothing was said. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
But
Just to the ground, and that was it.
yeah, and I was like, oh my God. Dude, after that, I was scared to death for weeks, I was scared to walk into people's houses, man.
That's crazy. I only ever had one instance where that kind of came up and actually happened, and I was a little worried about it. Not rapish style though.
Well, I didn't rape it. FYI, I did not rape anybody.
You popping her some rapies?
I did not rape anyone.
Molesties. No, the only one I ever had is I had this little old lady where she had issues with her phone, but she was one of these people where she had to explain every aspect of it, no matter what, even if you already knew about it. She had to show you every inch of the phone system because it was having a problem. I'm like, oh my God, this is sweet as pie. So I really couldn't complain. And she ends up dragging me around to the outside of the house to where the knit is. And she shows me, and the wires are hanging out of the bottom, and I start explaining, this isn't even hooked up, you're fine, this has nothing to do with it. And she's like, okay. Well, she ends up walking, and she trips, and she fucking falls. Now, this is right on a main road. This 80-year-old lady, where she was not she wasn't as light as a feather, let's say that, hit the ground pretty hard. And as she hit the ground, my buddy pulls up in the truck. Now, she was already on the ground when he approached the scene, we'll say. And I was like, oh my God, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah. And I start trying to help her up. And my buddy comes over, grabs her other arm. He's like, oh my God, what happened? She's like, oh, no, I'm okay. Don't worry about it. And we get her up, and she brushed herself off and dead in the eyes, look at me and looks at my buddy and goes, but if you don't fix my problem, I'm going to tell him you push me. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, I got to fix this lady's problem or she's going to fucking get me fired.
Oh no, that's a bitch move.
No, and she smiled and laughed after, but it was one of those things where it was like, oh shit, dude, it was said, so it makes you think about it.
Yeah, like the idea of going in and out of people's houses, there's a lot to it anyway, but worrying about, I can't break nothing, there's certain things you can't say, there's just a lot to it that nobody even gives you credit for.
Yeah.
Man, that was the only thing that scared me. About losing my job over something I legitimately didn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, had I been messing around with somebody I met on a job, which I did do at one point, but there was nothing bad from it.
Yeah.
But and then that came up, I could be like, yeah, I did do this, but I didn't do anything wrong in that situation, right? So it was just a scary thing because, like I said earlier, I was living in a dumpy trailer. I had a pregnant fucking girlfriend, and this would have been the worst time to get fired for something I legitimately did not do.
Yeah, no shit.
I was like, and it was scary, dude. I was sick to my stomach for 2 weeks, man. It was awful. And then they wrote me up, you could have used better judgment. And when he wrote me up, I laughed and I said, what better judgment could I have used? Should I tell her, hey, it's not going to be okay. Everything's going to fucking go to hell now. It's your fault. Would that have been better judgment?
Don't set false expectations, so maybe. But
maybe I shouldn't have lied to her, huh?
Oh, good. Like what you just heard? Then don't forget to click that subscribe button. Questions for the host or just want to say hello? You can email us at catvtechtalk@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/catvtechs. Thanks again for joining us, and don't forget, climbing, crawling, drilling, driving is just the beginning.